Today, the Vice President Kamala Harris speaking in Indianapolis as the keynote speaker to the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Convention. WHAS 11 News is there covering it as Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, remains in play as a possible running mate pick. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. Today was not a designated campaign stop, but the vice president gave remarks similar to what you might hear on the campaign trail.
In this moment, I believe we face a choice between two different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. And with your support, I am fighting for our nation's future.
Vice President Harris is not the official Democratic nominee yet. That won't be announced until the Democratic convention.
Right now, our senior reporter, Isaiah Kim Martinez, is live in Indianapolis along with photojournalist Alyssa Newton. And Isaiah, listening to this at the moment, she's still technically the vice president, but you heard her use some language that certainly sets up a presidential campaign in the coming months.
Well, Doug, no doubt about it. It was very clear from the start that Vice President Kamala Harris was embracing her position as the presumptive Democratic nominee. It was a relatively short speech, 15 minutes, straight to the point, and she mentioned her opponent by name one time, specifically as it relates to abortion rights.
You know, when he was president, Donald Trump, former president, handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court because he intended for them to overturn Roe v. Wade. And as he intended, they did.
In just her second address on the road since getting President Biden's blessing to lead the Democratic ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris zeroed in on a promise.
Well, let me tell you something. When I am president of the United States, and when Congress passes a law to restore those freedoms, I will sign it into law.
The cheers of 6,000 sorors of Zeta Phi Beta, a historically black sorority, booming in Indianapolis.
We are not playing around.
Harris sharing a mix of her personality along with her priorities if elected. The VP drew a harsh contrast between herself and the Trump campaign.
I believe we face a choice between two different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. We must also recognize there are those who are trying to take us backward.
After Harris's address, I talked to Tyrion Robertson from Atlanta. She tells me she was moved by the vice president's words.
She will have my vote.
What part of her message stood out to you the most?
Us coming together, getting more of the black cultures to come out and vote, be voters. Coming together and building a community of stronger women.
Hector Lewis of Jackson, Mississippi, was a vendor at the event. How do you feel about her energy and what she brings with her?
I think the country is full of a younger generation of people, so they're out of touch with a lot of the politicians that are sitting in position now. So she brings a younger energy, but maturity, because she's just old enough and just young enough at the same time to do the job.
And as you can see, folks are still here today getting out of a separate event. Obviously, the vice president is long gone off to Houston, Texas. But Doug, Shay, later on tonight, we're going to talk about the vice president's active search for a VP pick, a running mate. We know Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is on a short list being vetted at this time. But does his popularity carry outside of the state? Do people from elsewhere know his name? We did a round of interviews to find out. That's coming up right here at 6 o'clock. Doug, Shay.